I am a venture advisor to the Soybean Association. What that means is I have a job that has two parts. One is to find innovation that has the possibility of being commercialized, and the second is to help commercialize that invention. And so it is soup to nuts in incubating new businesses that have soy as the feedstock.
How do you go about that? What is your process that you use to create success?
Well, I would love to have successes, and see, there we are in that journey. And I myself started a company out of my third bedroom 18 years ago, and somehow 5 years ago I sold it to private equity and had a very good exit. And if that has taught me anything, it is that it is hard to stand here and know this is success and this is the left turn. There are no specific markers. All that you have is some level of instinct, a goal, and you go towards the goal and you navigate your way.
When you look at somebody who is interested in doing something, what's the process that you go through with them? I'm sure there's a lot of questions, finding out what they want to do, and so you can find out really how to make that a plus when you end up.
I am an angel investor on the side as well, so I'm kind of in that business already of identifying talent. And ultimately, this is about finding people who have a passion, who have some level of foundation and the perseverance to get to where they need to be. And you almost need all three of them. You can't have one and not the other two, and two and not the other three. And so what I look for is, do they have a foundation in science, or are they able to express a problem clearly in terms of, I wish this did something it doesn't. The next part you then look for is, do they surround themselves with people that can complete the missing pieces? And life is a people business, very much like banking used to be talking to the person behind the counter, and now we push buttons on a screen. It's still, when you need to get transactions done, whether it is inventing a new product using soybeans or whether it is being kind to a stranger, people skills are extremely important, and I look for people that others would want to be around. And you may have the best idea for a business, but if you're not the kind of person others want to be around, it just isn't going to be successful.
Could you provide an example of some raw product that you have helped somebody take through that process to become a success?
Thank you. We are very fortunate. We have one that has gone through the full cycle and is getting ready to be commercialized. We actually are talking to a toll producer. This happened when I visited Iowa, and there was a different company that was in the business of making grease for trains. So when a very heavy train makes a turn around a track, the entire weight of the train is trying to rub metal on metal against that track. And so there is a lot of friction, and there is a certain kind of grease that is applied to decrease that friction. And that grease is made in Iowa. And I went to visit with them, and it's a solid, it looks like a bar of soap. And I said, that's interesting. And I said, where do you sell them? They said, at that truck stop around the corner. So I went to the truck stop, and I saw that people were picking up a different kind of grease quite a bit. And that other kind of grease is what we commonly refer to, there's a brand name called Red and Tacky. It looks like it's ooey gooey, it flows out. So I went back to that same company and said, why can't you make it like this ooey gooey thing instead of a bar of soap? And they said, that's a very different chemistry. We are not chemists. We don't know how to do it. And that is what I mean by, what you're looking for are people who can put a box around a problem, which in this scenario I was able to do. But then you need the right kind of talent to go from there to formulating a solution. We actually worked with an out-of-state lab where we defined the problem, and they were able to come up with a solution. We then got it tested to make sure it will meet industry certifications, which it did. And Todd Main, who runs the Soy Innovation Center, said, hey, I was talking about this to one of our board members, and they said, can I have some of that product to put on our tractors? Well, we had only made a test batch, so now we had to go find an in-state producer who makes custom lubricants. And Todd and I we met with them once. We are having the second conversation to make 100 pounds. And it isn't going to be anything fancy. There isn't a nice tube with a logo. We're going to put it in little small, to-go containers from restaurants. That's all we need to do to just test 100 pounds of this. And if that is successful, now we have a business.
And what was that used for by that farmer?
Well, farmers drive heavy machinery.
Right.
Those machinery need grease for metal-to-metal contact. So today they use a different product made out of petroleum products, and talk about growing soy and making grease and putting it back to lubricate your farm equipment. That's exactly what this would do. It would replace an existing product that is made from petroleum derivatives.
Okay. What have I not asked that's important to this conversation?
Well, this two-day event is about trying to create an ecosystem. We do not believe that we have all the answers. We do not believe to even know what the problems are. We are trying to bring innovators together. We have some funding sources together. What we want is to send a message that we are kind of the people who incubate new ideas. Sometimes we would have defined the problem. There are 5 key areas that we have identified as focus areas, but there may be somebody who says, have you thought about this? We're not married to this is the only thing that can be done. We are looking to be a fire starter, and we are looking for the community to come together.